Good evening. I'm Pastor Mark Colbo of the Michigan Lutheran Church of Michigan, North Dakota. And this is my midweek devotional video for, I have to count the days now here. It's Thanksgiving week 2024. I promised on Sunday in church that I would do the midweek devotional video for Thanksgiving, and as it happens, I didn't get it done before we left on vacation before the day before Thanksgiving. So I'm going to do it now, and it is Black Friday, as they call it, the day when, of course, consumers can go wild and do all the Christmas shopping on the day when they have all the sales and everything. And I'm sorry I put it off till so late, but maybe that is very illustrative, given the story that I want to tell you from, I think it's the Gospel of Luke, the story for Thanksgiving and for the Gospel lesson. And it is perhaps indicative of where our frame of mind might be at a very busy time. So I'll talk about that in just a bit. We are in a different setting today. It is, I am in the lovely guest room at my sister-in-law's in Duluth, Minnesota. And at the Bastian residence. Lori Bastian is her name. She's Lisa's sister. And you remember Lisa, of course, from our Sunday morning videos, where she is the violinist, accompanying the keyboard and the singing, the congregational singing for worship. Her sister Lori, her older sister, that is her eldest sister, is also a violinist with the Duluth Superior Symphony Orchestra. So it's always a treat. It's a very musical family I married into here. And it is, so we're visiting at Lori's house, and she has another sister, Terry, who moved to Duluth from Denver about 3 years ago. And we alternate our vacations the weeks after Thanksgiving and Christmas. We alternate between Lori's and Terry's in Duluth, visiting the two sisters. Lisa has two sisters, and we're at Lori's after this Thanksgiving, and then after Christmas, when we come back here, we will be over at Terry's house. Hopefully, she's looking at some surgery in the future, and we're trying to work around that and see if she's okay to host us. But we have anyway, the lessons for the Thanksgiving and the theme of Thanksgiving this week. We had a nice, lovely dinner yesterday, and it is not her sisters that cook the dinner, but it is this sister's daughter, Lisa's niece, Jenny, who cooks the turkey, and she's in another part of Duluth. So we have the places across Duluth we visit when we come over here. Being a native Minnesotan, as you can see, and I'm wearing this because I just watched the Minnesota-Wisconsin game, football game, and they won the coveted Paul Bunyan X trophy for winning that, and hopefully they'll get to go to a bowl game, the Golden Gophers. Anyway, we get to visit various places in Duluth, and it's always a treat to come here. So this is where I'm at here in our guest room we stay when we come to Duluth. And I will do some readings here for Thanksgiving, but let us begin our prayer O Lord, open our lips, and our mouth shall proclaim your praise. Lord, make haste to save us. Make haste to deliver us. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and will be forever. Amen. So first we'll go to the Psalm number 65. If I can get it up here on my tablet. It's usually handier to bring a tablet than a bigger Bible. So Psalm 65. Praise is due to you, O God, in Zion, and to you shall vows be performed. O you who answer prayer, to you all flesh shall come. When deeds of iniquity overwhelm us, you forgive our transgressions. Happy are those whom you choose and bring near to live in your courts. We shall be satisfied with the goodness of your house, your holy temple. By awesome deeds you answer us with deliverance, O God of our salvation. You are the hope of all the ends of the earth and of the farthest seas. By your strength you established the mountains. You are girded with might. You silence the roaring of the seas, the roaring of the waves, the tumult of the peoples. Those who live at earth's farthest bounds are saved by your signs. You make the gateways of the morning and the evening shout for joy. You visit the earth and water it. You greatly enrich it. The river of God is full of water. You provide the people with grain, for so you have prepared it. You water its furrows abundantly, settling its ridges, softening it with showers, and blessing its growth. You crown the year with your bounty. Your wagon tracks overflow with richness. The pastures of the wilderness overflow. The hills gird themselves with joy. The meadows clothe themselves with flocks. The valleys deck themselves with grain. They shout and sing together for joy. This is the psalm for the day, Psalm 65. And now we turn, if I can find my way out of this one, we turn to the gospel. And the gospel for this Thanksgiving, actually I'm doing the readings from year A. The gospel for this Thanksgiving is from Luke chapter 17. It's a traditional gospel for Thanksgiving, and a good one here for what I want to say. Luke 17, verses 11 through 19. On the way to Jerusalem, Jesus was going through the region between Samaria and Galilee. As he entered the village, 10 lepers approached him. Keeping their distance, they called him out, saying, "Jesus, Master, have mercy on us." When he saw them, he said to them, "Go and show yourselves to the priests." As they were made clean. Then one of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back, praising God with a loud voice. He prostrated himself at Jesus' feet and thanked him, and he was a Samaritan. Then Jesus asked, "Were not 10 made clean? But the other 9, where are they? Was none of them found to return and give praise to God except this foreigner?" Then he said to him, "Get up and go your way. Your faith has made you well." Jesus makes an excellent point here, of course, and we usually highlight this one. I want to go a little bit different direction with this reading for today. But he makes the excellent point that, 10 were healed, but only one of them turned back, and that was the foreigner. Now, I do want to highlight that a little bit different. Usually I do lift up the foreigner because we do that often in Luke. The foreigner, the outcast, the outsider is the one who tends to prove their faith in the Gospel of Luke a little bit more than usually the ones who are of the people that Jesus, is related to more. But in this lesson here, and on this particular day, I want to say that when we talk about gratitude, that's a thing. We lift up the Samaritan's gratitude over the others because they don't turn back and say. But there's a lot that's, as in most of these Bible stories, there's a lot of detail that's left out that we really wish we could know, because it might give us more insight into why people do what they do, and why Jesus is making the points that he's making here. Of course, Jesus is congratulating or acknowledging the gratitude of the Samaritan. And that's all well and good, and that's what we'll usually highlight when we look at that story. But now I just want to say, and here I may be playing the devil's, although I want to say the other side, the advocate for the other side, the other 9, and this is not to excuse ingratitude, but perhaps to explain and to say, and not to explain in a way that says it's okay to be ungrateful. I don't necessarily feel they were ungrateful, except that they just did not turn back. I mean, yes, it does seem to us, of course, after a couple of millennia of looking at this story and criticizing the other 9, I just want to say that sometimes we are often like the other 9 more than we are that Samaritan. And it's not to say that we are ungrateful, but and it's not to excuse ingratitude by saying, well, sometimes you just get too busy. Well, that's the point I'm making here, of course. And not that we're too busy, but to say sometimes we're just so wrapped up, are we not, in ourselves. Sometimes we just get to thinking and being preoccupied with, well, what do we do now? Where do we go from here? In another story, Jesus has done some healing, and he goes and he tells the person he has healed, go and show yourself to the priest. Because in the law, of course, at that time for the Jewish people, the thing was to go and get yourself checked out by the priest if you've done a healing, like a cleansing of the leper. Go and show yourself to the priest so that you can be certified to go back to worship with your people in the temple. Because you can't, as an unclean person, as a leper, for instance, you cannot go and, once you've been a leper and people know that, you cannot go back into worship with the crowd unless you are certified by the priest that you are okay, that you are now clean, and you are acceptable. And it may be, and it doesn't say that in this story that that's where they're headed, but for instance, that might be indeed where the other 9 are, to fulfill that cleansing and to be certified so that they can, and that might be part of their gratitude, is to go and do as Jesus would bid them do, to go and show yourself to the priest. In this story, Luke wants to highlight, of course, the Samaritan and that person's gratitude, and that's good. That's good. But for us, a lot of us, what we would maybe do, and this is what is not said, that Jesus tells them to come back, to go and to do that, to certify themselves, but that's what they do. Perhaps maybe they're on their way. Maybe they are going to see their families. They may have just been overcome with the joy and the excitement of this new status, of the cleansing of their body, the healing, that they are now moving on and going ahead with trying to reestablish themselves and where they should be in their society. And perhaps they're just so wrapped up with what their new discovery that they do not think perhaps how this has happened to them and where they should return thanks, and as Jesus says, give glory to God that way. So here on this Black Friday, we are grateful. We have a debt of gratitude, and that we've perhaps made our prayers and ate our turkey and rejoiced in the fellowship and the company of our families and our relatives. And now we're perhaps giving thanks by going out and shopping. I mean, shopping perhaps for gifts for those that we love, or going out and celebrating and maybe beginning the Christmas season by joining the crowds and participating in the holiday rituals, as it were, of preparing for Christmas. Sometimes we get wrapped up in these human, very, very, very human things that we do and that we want to be. Right now, for instance, I'm not with my wife. I'm here all by myself at the sister's house, because Lisa and her sisters are running around up at the other sisters in the woods, running around cutting boughs for decorations. And that's fun, and that's to do, and I wanted to stay here and do this video. But sometimes we have these things that we do, these customs, these times of celebration with family, and maybe that's the explanation. I'm not saying it's a defense for not coming back and saying thank you, but maybe this is what the other 9 are doing, and perhaps it's just a very human thing, and we should cut them a little slack, perhaps. I don't know. It would be proper, of course, for them to say, thank you, Jesus, for healing me. And as they say, they as they went on their way, they were cleansed. And maybe they didn't make that connection then when Jesus bid them go, and for and that they would be cleansed. But Jesus does say that this man's faith, this man's gratitude, has made him well. I hope the others too come to gratitude, and it may not be too late for them. For the sake of the story, yes, they have passed their moment, perhaps, when they could have turned around and said, "Thank you, Jesus." And maybe it's a sign for us, or a reminder to us. Don't let that moment pass. If you are acknowledging, or if you recognize at any given moment that Jesus has made that difference in your life, then give thanks. And then just stop for a moment, even in the busyness, even in the celebration, even in the human traditions. Just stop for a moment and say that prayer. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you so much for all that you've done for me. And thank you for bringing me healing and wholeness and mercy and peace in my heart. Would you do that for just a moment at any given point in your celebrations today on Black Friday, or this weekend as we prepare for Advent, for the beginning of Advent? And that's another thing too about these videos here. I have given, we won't have a video on Sunday of our worship service, because since I'm on vacation, we are such a small church, we don't have service. And people are encouraged to go to other churches on Sunday, this Sunday, which is the first Sunday in Advent. But next Wednesday, and I hope it'll be Wednesday and not Thursday, but this coming Wednesday, then this next week here, that'll be the next video you'll get from me. And I will use that as the occasion to have the first of my Advent addresses to you. And so I'll do the first Sunday in Advent readings next Wednesday's video. And that will be from our home in Crary, probably, unless I need to do it from the church in Michigan when I go to teach church school. But I'm just say we will then begin our Advent season, another one of the human seasons and customs that we have in this very busy time as we lead up to the celebration of the incarnation of God in Christ. So, but in this week, remember to give thanks for all that God has done for you. So, let us pray. O God, from whom come all holy desires, all good counsels, and all just works, give to us that peace which the world cannot give, that our hearts may be set to obey your commandments, and also that we, being saved from the fear of our enemies, may worship and praise you, one God, now and forever. Amen. Lord, remember us in your kingdom, and teach us to pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. And give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, now and forever. Amen. Let us bless the Lord. Thanks be to God. And now may the peace of God, which passes all understanding, keep your hearts and minds in the knowledge and fear of God and of His Son, Jesus Christ. And may the blessing of God Almighty, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit bless you and be with you and keep you now and forever. Amen. Go in peace to love and serve the Lord. Thanks be to God.